Here's how not to save money sometime between 2010 and 2020. Hi bank, I would like to deposit my money. Thank you, sir. And in exchange, we will give you 0.0000001% interest. Here's how you can save money sometime in 2023. Hi bank, I would like to deposit my money. Oh, thanks. And we can give you some interest. And how much would that be? Probably something over 4%. Booyah, music to my ears. That's right, folks. For the first time in my recent memory, honestly, my lifetime, it's, dare I say, fashionable. In fact, even economical to put money into a savings account. Now, the actual mechanics of the why is way too long and way too boring for this video. All you need to know is there are some great places to park your money to get some sweet, sweet yield, aka interest, aka more free money for your money. So in today's video, we are going over the top 6 bank accounts of 2023 quarter 3. And I'd be remiss to not address kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to bank accounts in that, yeah, we had some banking issues earlier in the year. And so because of that, I want to set 2 ground rules for all of the bank accounts we're going to talk about today. 1, all of them are going to be FDIC insured, meaning if the bank were to go belly up, you would be covered for at least $250,000. The second ground rule is that I have either had, I currently have, or I would personally myself open the bank account I talk about. With that out of the way, let's dive into the top 6 and be sure to stick around though because the last bonus account we have is one that actually trumps all of these. It just requires a little bit more legwork. Coming at number 6, we have Ally Bank. The requirements to opening a high yield savings account with Ally. Well, there's no monthly maintenance fees and there's no minimum, so there really aren't a whole ton. Features. Ally Bank actually has a ton of features packed into their high yield savings account. The one that I think is pretty unique are called savings buckets, where basically you have a savings account and then you can designate out different buckets and areas that you want to save. For example, if you want to save for a wedding, if you want to save for a car, you want to save for a down payment, you can actually specify that out so it's a little bit easier to organize where your savings are as opposed to just having a broad savings bucket. Now onto the interest rate currently offered by Ally Bank, that is at a whopping 4%. My general comments and recommendations, personally I've been banking with Ally since my college days. They were one of the very first online banks. And so what that meant was they had very low fees because they didn't have brick and mortar locations. And I've generally been a customer since. Coming in at number 5, we have American Express with their high yield savings account. And this one's a unique one because I traditionally don't think of American Express as a bank. I think of them more as a credit card issuer, but it's great to see that they're playing in the broader banking space. So requirements to opening a high yield savings account with American Express, there's not a whole ton. There's no monthly maintenance fees as well as there's no minimums to actually open an account. Features. Honestly, there weren't a whole ton. The one I could find out were that you can do auto deposits into the savings account, but I will give it a pass largely because it's American Express and potentially getting a banking relationship might help you out on the credit card side. The interest for high yield savings account with American Express also comes in at 4%. My comments and recommendations. So I personally don't have a savings account on the personal side with American Express, but I do have a checking/banking account on the business side. What I like about American Express is everything gets consolidated into one. So I have a good amount of American Express credit cards. My top American Express credit card, the gold, I still have a platinum, and it's nice to see when I log in, all of my credit cards as well as all of my banking are all loaded onto one page. Coming at number 4, we have Citi. The requirements to open a high yield savings account with Citi are kind of annoying to be perfectly honest, and here's what I mean by that. You can't just open a high yield savings account with them. You actually have to pair it with one of their checking account products, which on its surface is whatever, no big deal, you open 2 accounts. However, the checking accounts do have annoying things you have to do in order to make sure that it's fee-free. So I would recommend opening a Access checking account by Citi so that you can get their high yield savings account. And then once you have the checking account open, then you can open the savings account, and to make sure everything is fee-free, you have 2 options. One option is link your checking and savings account, and then all you have to do is one of the following. Either make 1 direct deposit every month, make 1 bill qualifying payment every month, or maintain an average monthly balance of $1,500 across both accounts every month. However, if you don't link the 2 accounts, then what you would have to do is make sure you have at least a minimum of $500 a month in your savings account. Arguably, it's annoying, but I think it's okay because of this feature that Citi has. So Citi, across all the banks I'm gonna talk about today, is probably gonna be the one with the largest global footprint. And way back in the day, when Viv and I were still dating, between Boston and Sydney, we would go on trips together, right? So one person would pay, someone else would pay, and we'd pay each other back. Really annoying when it's cross borders. However, I had a Citibank account in the US, she had a Citibank account in Australia, and that was the easiest way to do global transfers fee-free and pretty quickly. So because of that global footprint, I really like Citi because you could have multiple bank accounts, I guess, in multiple countries, or if you have friends in other countries, they may likely have a Citi account. It's very easy to do these type of transfers. They're called Citi Global Transfers. And the interest rate for the Citi High Yield Savings Account is 4.05%. Coming in at number 3, we have Capital One with a high yield savings account that has an interest rate of 4.15%. Requirements to open the account? There's not a whole ton. No monthly maintenance fee, no minimums. Features. This is just a pretty plain Jane high yield savings account. The one thing to call out is Capital One does have a good amount of starter credit cards, namely in the form of the Saver one as well as the Quicksilver, and so there could be some good pairings there. Similar to American Express, I like having a view of all of my banking in one place with credit cards, checkings, as well as savings. Comments and recommendations? Honestly, this is a really good middle-of-the-road high-yield savings account. Decent interest rate, decent other product offerings, but there's not a whole ton of bells and whistles in terms of what it's gonna pack in there for you. Coming in at number 2, making a jump now, is Citi Bank with a high yield savings account that gives you an interest rate of 4.95%. Requirements to opening this account. There's no requirements necessarily, but you're gonna do some legwork to get the high interest yield. So there's no monthly maintenance fee, which is great, but in order to get the 4.95% interest, you need to have a balance of at least $5,000 or more. If you have less than $5,000, you're only gonna get 0.25% interest. In addition, you need $100 minimum to open this account. Features, not a whole ton that I could find. My comments and recommendations, 4.95% all day. The other thing to note is CIT is actually a division of First Citizens Bank. First Citizens Bank are the ones that actually came in and swooped up Silicon Valley Bank when they went belly up. So I guess by proxy, if they're healthy enough to go buy out another bank, then they must be doing pretty well themselves. So I have no worries. Again, like I said earlier, all deposits are FDIC insured. And coming in at number 1 with a whopping interest rate of 5.1% is a high yield savings account from Western Alliance Bank. Probably thinking, I've literally never heard of that bank. That's right, because they are not really a consumer bank. They're more of a business bank. If you go on their website right now, it's actually pretty difficult to find what their consumer offerings are. So you're then probably thinking, then how do I open this account? Great question. Well, for one, you need at least $1 minimum to open it, and there's no monthly maintenance fees. But what's unique about Western Alliance Bank is you actually get to their account using, I guess, a platform that offers these banking services to the masses like us. I know it's a little bit weird, but since they're FDIC insured, I have no problem with them. And if you'd like to support my channel, you can feel free to go use my affiliate link down below to check them out, or any of the banks that we talked about today. But regardless, what it is it's actually called the Western Alliance Savings Bank powered by Raisin, which is this, I guess, platform or marketplace that offers banking solutions to a lot of people. And I guess part of the reason why Western Alliance Bank is able to offer such an aggressive interest rate is they're not really spending any money on marketing. As you can see, if you go to the website, you can't even find a personal banking section. It's all just commercial banking. And so because of that, their marketing spend, I guess they're saving and rolling it into a much more aggressive interest rate for their end customers. So my comments, recommendations, honestly, I would jump on it. They're FDIC insured, and so I don't see any particular downside. Of course, if you have over $250,000, you might be a little bit wary. But just because a bank doesn't necessarily have a easily accessible front-end consumer banking department, there's still a pretty sizable commercial option. Cool, so that wraps it for the top 6 bank accounts for 2023 Q3. My one additional comment for all these bank accounts is the minute that interest rate drops or doesn't make sense for you, move on. Do not get attached at the hip to one bank. In fact, that's how you end up at, say, a Bank of America getting 0.00001%. Because they're so large, because you started with them in high school, you had them through college, you might have gotten a credit card with two from them, you think you need to stay with them. You don't. And that's my whole thing when it comes to banks and credit cards. The minute there's no value, move on to the next one. The minute there's better value, go to that one. So that said, here's one method that trumps all of these. And this can actually scoop you an interest rate of well over 5.3, touching 5.4%. And that is just loaning money to the government, specifically in the form of treasury bonds. Bonds, similar to savings account, are something in my lifetime that I thought was the boringest thing. They really didn't seem like that interesting. However, the last year has shown us bonds can generate some pretty good returns. A treasury bond, what is it? It's basically an IOU from the government. You loan them some money, they say, here, thank you for lending us money, we're gonna pay you back plus interest. Now, the money is not FDIC insured. However, if the government defaults on its bonds, basically they can't pay people back, you'd have a lot more problems to worry about than just getting your money out. So you're backed by the faith of the US government, which honestly is probably the surest guarantee that you have out there. And what I love about bonds is the fact that you do not pay state income tax on the interest generated. I'm from Massachusetts, that's about 6% from us. Boom, immediately when I compare, okay, 5% in a high yield savings account, 5% in a bond, knowing that with the bond, the only annoying thing is your money is gonna be locked up for a period of 3, 6, 9, 12 months, and it kind of goes on. But as long as you don't need the money, why not save on the taxes? So my main brokerage account is Charles Schwab. So I would actually go in and I would buy the bonds from the secondary market. And right now a 6-month treasury bond is paying out at an annualized interest rate of 5.4%. Again, the only thing to keep in mind with treasury bonds is that your money is locked up, so it can't be money that you have earmarked for anything else. However, if you can go without it for 3 or 6 or 9 months, then you can generate some pretty significant yield in addition to saving on taxes. Cool, folks? This has been a really good video. Hopefully you have taken something out of it. I'm hoping to do one of these every quarter because I know the interest rates changed, the type of bank accounts might change, but let me know in the comment section down below what videos you'd like to see from me next. I've got a couple ideas. We wanna talk about real estate. Obviously we've got credit cards, but I do definitely wanna grow and expand out into other areas. Until then though, I will catch you all on the next video. Peace.